Three, two, one, zero.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, greetings, greetings, greetings. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are listening into this. This is Stephen V Richardson speaking to you from beautiful San Francisco, California, actually the San Francisco Bay Area. It is such a privilege to be back on the stage of Conversations on Success, a global platform that Organo has put together where the top leaders, top income earners, top producers get together and share some stories, share some wisdom. Every once in a while, we'll make an announcement. And I am so excited to be back. The first call of the second quarter of 2021. And I actually have a theme for you today. This theme didn't stumble upon me until about an hour ago, but here is the theme of today. Back to the future. I'll actually go back to the main slide and you can see this is me in a very recent picture. We'll just say 2021. We have all of our amazing products and services, our gourmet beverages, our OGX shakes, our supplementals, our outstanding BU products. We have Travala, we have OG Pay, we have Cognition, all of the great things we have. And just for a record, I've actually been with Organo for almost 12 years, 11 and a half years ago. I became a proud, loyal, committed Organo distribution partner. But we're going to take a blast from the past because I really want to make a point. This is how it looked in 2009. Actually, let me see if I have my picture. There we go. Who remembers this? The Nielsen's remember this. I never saw this active. By the time I came on board, we had a different set of boxes, but just so you know, some people have never seen these boxes before. These are the original boxes of Organo. And actually, we weren't called Organo. We weren't called Organo Gold. We actually had our boxes were branded Zen Rishi. Can you imagine signing up for a company called Organo Gold, and when you get your first shipment, you get these random boxes and they say Zen Rishi? That's what happened in the very beginning. But here we are. This is how I started with these gourmet black, gourmet latte, gourmet mocha. That's me in the left-hand corner. I think I'd started about a few weeks before I did this, doing absolutely everything wrong. Our logo was up in the right-hand corner. Back then, they used to call us Organo Gold. So why am I getting nostalgic on you all of a sudden? Because in my preparation for what I wanted to share with you today, a moment in time, which I truly believe in my heart and soul, is the absolute best time to be part of Organo. And I'm going to prove it, but I'm actually going to use our past to project us into the future. This is what it looked like back in the day. I'm going to show you something. We already saw the boxes. I want you to know I absolutely have the highest level of love and respect and appreciation for all that our corporate officers, our support team, and all over the world do. And we have this thing called OG Academy. And as you know, OG Academy includes videos, it includes lots of instruction, it includes all of the promotions that we have going on, so many things. But here's what I know. I know that Organo started, let's just be conservative. Our first $1 billion worth of sales, our first $1 billion worth of sales were done with a one-page training document. I'll say that again. We really didn't even do training, I don't think, for the first 18 months. All we did was 4 steps training, and we did a lot of recognition because people were taking this simple, duplicatable system and executing it consistently all over the world. And for those of you paying attention at this slide, I'm using this slide for a reason. I had to pull this up off the internet. I have an old flip chart somewhere. This is the first flip chart that we created. And if you're paying attention, you'll notice it goes step 1, step 2, step 1, step 1. We couldn't even count to 4 back then. This is the official Organo flip chart that had the presentation, it had the 4 steps, it had the 4 questions, it had the retail sales clip, and we had a typo where we couldn't even count to 4. That's where we begin. So you don't even have to know how to count to 4 to do $1 billion in this industry. But here, we got better. This is the second version. Actually, this is the third. We're gonna go to the second version. Nope, this is right. The second version. And hopefully people like the Nielsen are just smiling ear to ear and say, I remember that. Here's the one that we published next. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. But look at step 3. It says book 4 coffee jazz mixers. The word 4 is spelled incorrectly. It should be F-O-U-R. So first of all, we couldn't count. And now we proved that we couldn't spell. This is how we didn't care. It didn't matter. We had some great product. We had a very simple system that a lot of people could execute consistently all over the world. Didn't matter if we could spell, didn't matter if we could count. All it matters is we could follow a simple system. Isn't it interesting that that's how it worked? Finally, we got to this, which is at least we can count now. We can spell correctly. This is the system. And I pulled this sheet for a very specific reason. I've been looking at some of the current, let's just say, training material that's out there, and it is outstanding. It is extraordinary. It is comprehensive. But I actually noticed that a few things that were in our original system, while they might be hidden in there somewhere, I haven't found it yet, but while they might be hidden in there somewhere, some very simple yet powerful pieces of our original 4-step system have somehow faded away. So let's talk about our system now. What's the easiest way to explain our 4 steps of success? And once again, we took this 4-step system and we generated well over $1 billion with sales, pretty close to 2 billion, but we'd be very, very conservative. How do I explain the 4 steps when I'm just doing it for the first time? Well, we have some product, we have some people to talk to, we schedule our exposures, we plug into a proven system of success. That's it. Nothing complicated. But what is so important about step 1? We've heard it before, we've talked about it before, but there are some very simple pieces of it that I'm not hearing very much from people, and I'm not seeing it very much in the documentation I'm looking for, but I want you to understand where we've come from, the foundation of what our proud company, a legacy company, I believe with all of my heart and soul, what it was built upon. What's the first thing that was part of our 4 steps of success? Submit your testimony within 48 hours. Why in the world? And I'm going to do something real quick. I want you to look at this. If you're watching this from a smartphone, take a screenshot. If you're looking at it on a computer, do whatever you need to do, because I'm getting ready to stop sharing this because I want to do this old school. Hold on, let me see if I can figure this out. Stop the share, start the video. There I go. All right, old school. Some of you know, didn't wear glasses when I started Organo. Some of you know I love pictures. I'm a picture kind of guy. But for today, I want this to be a very simple conversation with just you and me. All right? So once again, 4 steps. Have some product, have some people to talk to, schedule your exposures, plug into a proven system of success for 18 months, by the way. All right. The first part of the step 1, being a product of product, which just means have some product. The first part of that was submit your testimony. Why is it still so important that we have people submit their testimony to the person who brought them into the business? This is the foundation of your residual income. Nobody started this business to get another job. If we just want another job, we'd get that. We're doing this so that we can build a book of business, and that so we can continue to get paid for as long as people continue to consume our product. Okay? So why is it so important to have people submit their testimony on what their product has done for them? And for the record, for probably most of this conversation, I'm going to talk about gourmet beverages. I know we have all the other products, but I want you to understand how simple it is to just take one lane, one product category that we have and do everything that you desired. If you want to do this, if you want to do that, awesome. But we're going to use gourmet beverages as the example, okay? It's the foundation of your residual income. Because what do we know about coffee and tea drinkers? They've consumed it probably for most of their life. They've consumed it for many years. They'll probably continue to consume it as long as they live. That's a very good thing. When you understand what the Organo product has done for each of your customers, having them have a personal connection to the product outside of the pay plan, if and when, probably when, if and when life gets in the way and they decide to possibly go and do something else and no longer actively work the business, guess what they will continue to do? They will continue to consume your product. If you allow this to be all about the money, if you think that the only thing about our Organo beverages and the other products that we have is just that it tastes good, which is a start, then you're going to miss something, because when there's an emotional connection to the product outside of the pay plan, people will continue to consume it forever and ever. And that is a beautiful thing. What's the other piece of the product? Step one. It is be on proper auto ship. Now that's it's almost an indecent word in some categories, but this business is about selling product, helping customers. That's it. So why is it so important that people are on proper auto ship? This is a business. It requires product. When you follow the 4-step system properly and consistently, you take your initial group of products, you sell a portion of it using one of our proven retail scripts, you get your money back, your initial investment back, 100% return on investment. You take that money and that becomes your revolving operating capital. No one should have to go into their pocket and continue to buy coffee if you're doing this system properly. When you are doing this system properly, you are taking your revolving operating capital and working your business using that money over and over and over again. So here's some numbers. I'm going to probably give you more numbers during this time that we have together than any call you've heard, maybe ever, or at least in a very long time. It's very, very important. Hopefully you're taking notes. I'm not going to show you any slides with nice and easy. Hopefully this will inspire you to watch this over and over and over again, because what I'm going to share with you is the numbers behind the business, the methodology behind the system, so that you can understand why we've been able to grow so big in such a short period of time. So auto ship, we like to call it automatic product replacement. You're in a business. If you ran a McDonald's, you'd need some buns and some burgers. Whatever your business is, you need inventory. So what do you need to decide or understand when you decide what your proper auto ship is? Well, first of all, you're probably a consumer. Maybe conservatively, 70, 75, maybe 80% of the people out there in the world, here in the United States, all over the world, consume at least 1 cup of coffee or tea every single day, probably 2 or 3, but we'll be conservative. Let's just say 2. If you are consuming 2 to 3 cups of coffee or tea every single day, that typically equates to maybe 2 or 3 boxes of Organo product a month. Once again, we're just talking about our gourmet coffee and our organic tea. So once again, you are not doing anything that you weren't doing before. You were probably already a coffee drinker. You were probably already a tea drinker. All you did was stop spending your money to somebody else, and now you're using your own company for something you were consuming anyway. So when you think about your personal consumption of 2 to 3 cups of coffee a day, that's going to be maybe 3 to 4 boxes a month. Okay, so 3 to 4 boxes. If you intend on growing a business of customers and distribution partners, guess what you probably have to do? You have to share your product. So you have to think, how many people per day am I going to share my amazing product with so that they can see how it tastes and how it makes them feel? Now, our system, the system that did well over $1 billion, our system was give out 2 sachets. Now, our system, a gourmet black and a gourmet latte. Why? Because most people either drink their coffee black or they drink it with cream and sugar. So 2, if you are sampling 2 people a day, we'll even give you a couple of days off a week for whatever reason. Let's just say you're doing it 5 days a week. If you're sampling 2 samples a day, that's 4 sachets, right? 4 people, 2 people, 4 sachets, that's 22, 88 a month. So that once again equates to somewhere between 3 to 4 boxes a day. So if you are planning on building your organo business, if you are following our system, you will be sampling 3 to 4 boxes a month. What else? Retail. Now, yes, we're an online company, but we all know if you've worked this business that a lot of people just want to get it from you. A lot of people just want to pay full retail. And when you have product on hand, you can make some quick, easy sales. Some of you, I can't remember exactly the number, but my very good trusted friend, platinum consultant, Benet Simons, 90 star achiever, 90, perfect attendance. It's actually more than that, because back in the day, we used to call it the Case Club. Before the Star Achiever program came out, she was telling me that somebody called her up the other day and asked her for 4 or something. I think it was 4 T's or something. If someone asked you for 4 or 6 of something, would you be able to say, great, when can I come over and give it to you right now? So you have to have, if you want to work your business and maximize it, you have to have a little bit of product on hand. So here's our system. Our system was to acquire 10 serviceable customers. That's all. Now, we have some retail superstars. Benet Simons is one of them. Retail superstars who are selling a lot of products. Not everybody is willing and able to do what's necessary to get all those customers, but everybody can get 10. Do you know 10? Can you find 10 people in your universe? Family, friends, neighbors, coworkers, people at your church, people at your gym, people who you see at the store, out of all those people all over the world, can you find 10 coffee drinkers who'd like to have some great tasting, healthier gourmet coffee, organic tea that typically costs less than what they get out there in the marketplace? Absolutely. So what happens, once again, when you follow our system? When you follow our system, you're going to have 10 customers. How many boxes does an average customer consume in a month? Well, they're drinking 2 to 3 cups of beverages a day. That means about 3 to 4 boxes. Ended up, you're going to need about 20 boxes for retail. So if you're following our system, you have, and I'm reading my note here real quick, you're having 2 to 3 consumption, 3 to 4 for sampling, maybe 20 for retail. That's approximately 30, somewhere between 25 and 30 boxes. Guess what that is? Star Achiever. When you are properly following our system, you are a Star Achiever. Guess what happens when you teach just 32 people across your entire organization to follow our simple system and consume our great tasting, healthier product that costs less than what you can get there by the cup out there in the marketplace. And they're doing it properly. They're sampling, they're selling. Guess what happens when you help 32 people in your organization do that? What's that? That's Sapphire. Guess what happens when you do that with 89 people? Helping them follow the system, having 89 star achievers. Guess what that is, Ruby? Guess what 178 people across your entire organization, not just you, your entire organization, all over the world, guess what 178 is? Emerald. And guess what happens when you have 445 people who are simply following the system, who are star achievers? That's diamond. It's not just diamond. It's the Emily Morrow type of diamond, the rock solid retail customer based diamond, the type that you can't really shake. You can shake a diamond if they've just sponsored 80 something people. We've had those before. I've been around for a while. I told you, I started Organo November 15th, 2009. I've seen a few things. We had just done, we did 2 million in 2008. We did 9 million in 2009. We did 47 million, I think, in 2010, 53 and 100, all that kind of stuff. So all I'm saying is I've seen a few things. We've had an 11-day diamond. Did you know that? Our 11-day diamond, I won't go into too much detail, but let's just say she was a very influential person in her community, and she sponsored about 80 people personal. Fastest to become a diamond, the fastest to quit. Because just recruiting distributors who don't know why they joined is not like having a rock solid foundation of customers. That's just step one. What's step two? Have some people to talk to. Build your list. I looked long and hard in all the amazing documentation. Once again, this is zero de-edification of what we've created for our distributors, because when you grow so big as we have, you need things like that. I looked long and hard for a very important part of our original system. Guess what it was? Create a list of at least 100 people. The average teenager supposedly, no, and this was almost before, this was definitely before TikTok. I think it was before Instagram, might have been Facebook was around. The average teenager supposedly knows a couple thousand people. So can you find 100? During these times, can you find 100 people that possibly would like to earn a little of extra income during the normal course of their day around their existing schedule? Can we find 100? Out of family, out of neighbors, out of friends, out of coworkers, out of people at the gym, all those people who are working retail and restaurants and events, can we find 100? I know we can. Think of your, whatever block you live in. Think of how many coffee and tea drinkers there are in your block. Think of your city. How many coffee and tea drinkers are there in your city? Think of your region, wherever you are. How many coffee and tea drinkers are there in your region? Think of your country. How many coffee and tea drinkers are there in your country? Think of the world. We're in 35, who knows how many countries. We keep growing. I can't keep count. All over the world. Can you find 100 for your initial list? Why was it 100? Very few people know this. It said, build a list of 100. This was just for people getting started. Build a list of 100, have 50 be coffee drinkers and 50 be business builders. Why was it 50? Do you know? Some of you know, you might have forgotten. Why was it 50? 50 coffee drinkers, 50 business builders. It was 50 because when you use one of our proven retail sales scripts, that typically works somewhere about 85% of the time, conservatively, especially when you're kicking off the business, when you're most excited, when you have people who know and love you, who will at least buy a box of something once. When you use the retail sales script and you have a list of 50, 80% hit rate means you're going to sell 40. What's 40 boxes times $30? That's $1,200. We created step 2 for you to come in at the gold pack and make your entire investment back. That's why it's 50. Guess why it was 50 business builders? All right, pay attention. The definition of a coffee and jazz mixer. Old school. And yes, we're doing things virtual, doing things via Zoom, all that kind of great stuff. But whether it's in person or whether it's online, virtual, the definition per our 4-step system is to have 5 qualified attendees. 5 qualified, I don't like to use this word, but 5 qualified prospects. Couples count as 1, by the way. If all we're doing is doing one-on-one presentations, if you really want to utilize our system, you have to multiply whatever you're doing by 5. Because our system was to do presentations in groups. It's the most efficient, productive way to do it. It ties in a lot of psychology things of fear of loss and all that kind of stuff going on that I won't get into right now. But our presentations have, and I believe will always be, worked around doing presentations groups at a time of at least 5. Stay with me. So the goal is to have for every presentation 5 qualified guests. In order to get 5 qualified guests, our research has shown across the 70, 80 years of our industry that you have to have 10 people to tell you, I'm going to be there. You give a great invitation, they tell you, yes, I'm going to be there. I'll be there. You can count on me. As a matter of fact, I'm on my way. In order to get 10 people to tell you that they're going to show up, you have to probably talk to about 25 people because not everybody's going to want to come. In order to talk to 25 people, you have to have a list of at least 50 because you won't be able to reach everybody the first time around. The reason why step 2 of our system says 50 coffee drinkers and 50 business builders, the business builders is to get those 5 people to show up, you have to have a list of 50. There has always been a methodology behind our system. We just didn't take the time to tell you. Because if you weren't going to fall in the first place, I'm not sure, maybe there wasn't a reason to tell you. I don't know, but that's the reason. That's step 2, right? Have a list, build your list. It's always growing. Your list should only be as big as your dreams and goals. When was the last time you built your list? I know some people did. I know Shanisa Ali did because she's running and she's rocking and rolling. She's running fast, running hard. So build your list. Go back. I can't go into list building training right now, but here's one quick recommendation. Create your list initially by category. Don't think of it as individuals. Think of it as categories. Categories like family. Don't start judging. Don't start thinking all kind of stuff. Just write these categories down. Family, friends, coworkers, schoolmates, neighbors, people who I support. Maybe they do my hair, they do your nails, they do something else. Just categories. Pastors, teachers, real estate agents, people who are part of any organization you've ever been a part of. Lists, category after category after category. All of those categories that I just pulled off the top of my head have several dozen people at least for every single one of you. Build your list. It should only be as big and as long and as strong as your dreams and goals. So step 1, have some product. Step 2, have some people to talk to. Step 3, schedule your 4 coffee and jazz mixers, your 4 presentations. Do you know why it's 4? Do you really know why it's 4? It's not just some random number. Let me see how I'm going to explain this to you. Let me just keep it as simple as possible. I'll just go ahead and tell you. All right. Anybody, regardless of your background, your education, your financial situation, whatever, anybody can muscle their way to Sapphire. It's been proven countless times. Why does our system say 4 coffee and jazz mixers? 4 a month, but I'm sorry, 4 a week. So 4 a week. Okay, so here it goes. And I'm going to jump around, but I can go ahead and pull it all at the same time. I believe that you're on this call because you want more than just an extra $200 to $300 to $400 a month. I'm just going to guess, because if you want to do that, there's so many easier ways to do it. If you just want to do that, you just take some product, take a proven retail script, call some people, and sell some boxes of coffee. I'm guessing that the reason you're here, especially live on Easter Sunday, is because you want more out of your business. And if you want more out of business, and I'm not looking at where we're good online, so if you're watching me on Facebook, put in there, I want more, just put more, capitals, exclamation points, more. If you want more, here's a recommendation. Have some momentum. Create some momentum. And here's the thing, regardless on where you are, we're all in the same place. Regardless of how much you've achieved, we all need to do the same thing. We all want to create new momentum. True or false? So if you want to create momentum, guess what we've proven needs to be done? Personally sponsor 12 people within 30 to 60 days, preferably 30. And I'll tell you why in a minute. Personally sponsor 12 new distributors within 30 to 60 days, preferably 30. Okay, in order to do that, I recommend that you start out with a list, step 2, of at least 120. Why? Jim Rome, law of ratio. Do something enough times, the ratio appears, keep doing it, the ratio improves. We don't know what your number is yet, and you probably don't know what your number is yet. When you do something consistently and long enough, a number appears. Out of every 10 people you talk to, out of 10 people who you properly take through our proven system of success, how many people end up being customers? How many people end up being business partners? I don't know. All I know is an initial baseline should be 1 out of 10. Follow along. So if you want to create some momentum, and you need to personally sponsor 12 new distributors in a 30 to 60 day period of time, preferably 30, how big does your list have to be? At least 120. Take 120 people properly through the system, have a 1 out of 10 hit rate, you're going to get your 12. Why 12? Because guess what's going to happen when you sponsor 12 within that short enough period of time? Well, 3 to 4 are going to quit. Thanks for playing. Hope you enjoy the coffee. 3 to 4 are going to get distracted with life. It's going to happen. It happens to all of us. When you treat those people properly, when you love them where they are, when you stay connected and don't beat them up about doing what they said they were going to do, those 6 people, those 3 to 4 people, and both 3 to 4, that's 6 to 8, those people will come back eventually. When you treat them properly, they will at least continue to be your customer. You sponsored 12, 3 to 4 quit, 3 to 4 are incubating, they went to sleep, they're distracted, 3 to 4 are actually going to work. Let's take the lower number, 3. When you do at least 1 presentation a week, and those 3 other people are doing their presentation at least once a week, how many presentations do you have a week? That would be 4. A proper presentation with 5 qualified prospects, 5 qualified guests. The goal is to have a production of at least 1,000 points, $1,000 of volume. That could be 1 gold pack. That could be 2 silver packs. It could be whatever combination, but the goal is 1,000. So when you and 3 other people are doing it at least once a week, 4 times a week, 1,000 points per production, that's 4,000 a week, 4 weeks, 16,000. Guess what that is? Sapphire. That's why step 3 has 4 times a week. Did you know that? If you didn't, hopefully you do now. Step 4, plug into our proven system. For 18 months, by the way, because from track record, from our experience, This year we'll celebrate 2008. What's our 12th year as a company, 13 years? I've lost count. Through experience, it takes about 18 months, not to learn our system, because you've already learned it. Have some product, have some people to talk to, schedule your exposures, your presentations, plug into the system for 18 months. That's the system. That's why we used to say it's easy, it's simple, it's whatever. It's simple, but it's not easy because of this. Because of all that stinking thinking that a lot of us came into this business with, thinking we've arrived, thinking we know something, thinking we have an idea, thinking we can plan this ourselves. It takes about 18 months for kind of all that stuff to get behind you to really understand what's going on. So here's a question for you. Will you be here in 18 months? I hope you will. I dare you. I invite you to, because in 18 months, oh my goodness, following the system, you have no idea how important that is. So hopefully, and once again, I'm guessing I'm live. I don't see anything. All I see is my face. I don't have access to Facebook. So if this is making sense, just write in there. I'll go back and I'll respond to later on. Just say, this is making sense. Or say, I'm listening, Stephen. I'm tracking, Stephen. I got you, Stephen. All right. So I've already talked about several things that are very important. Our proven system of success and the methodology, the thought process behind why those numbers are so important and why our system is so important. Tell you a story, right on time. In November of 2009, iced latte. In November of 2009, I received a phone call from a complete stranger. I remember exactly where I was. I was walking in front of the Main Street Cafe in Pleasanton, California, making my calls. Probably was just pretending to be busy. I don't know. I can't remember. I know what it was. It was a man who I never knew. And he said, hey, Stephen, he gave me his name. And he said, you and I are members of the same organization. And that organization, as you know, is going to have an event up there in Northern California next week. I was looking through the list of profiles and descriptions. I saw your name and profile, and I saw your number. I thought I'd give you a call. How you doing? We had a very brief conversation, probably about 10 minutes. He was calling me from Houston, Texas. Complete stranger. I told him my mom was from Houston. He told me some stuff. I told him I did consulting. He told me he did consulting. We hit it off right away. And he said something like, well, Stephen, gotta go, but I'm gonna be there next week. I hope our paths cross. I look forward to seeing you soon, man. Take care. It was nice meeting you. Click. Flash forward next week, about 75 miles from here, probably about 90, to be honest with you. On a rainy night, by the way, I drove 75 miles one direction on a rainy night to be part of an event of, just to say, some business professionals. And they were to have some motivational speakers and those networking type of event. So I was willing to drive that far just to meet some people, even though I didn't know anybody except for maybe one person in that organization I had just joined. Okay. Now, as coincidence would have it, I was assigned to be the helper for that person who called me out of the blue. I was his go-to guy. I needed to go to his hotel room. I needed to make sure he had some water. I needed to get him to the venue on time. I had to make sure that everything was good. I was just kind of his go-to assistant. We didn't have much time to talk during that one time we were together. But maybe for a few minute conversation, maybe in his hotel room, maybe on the way to the venue, a very short drive, he said something like, we were just talking and building a relationship. Guess what he said? He said something like, yeah, he asked me what I was doing, what projects I was working on. And then I asked him, what are you working on? And he said, it's kind of interesting you asked that. I'm actually getting ready to launch the biggest project of my career. I said, really? What is it? And he said, well, it has to be, it's gourmet beverages. Man, you should come and take a look at it. You might want to be a part of it someday. I said, okay. When's the event? He said, oh, it's next week. I said, great, where is it? He said, it's in Houston. I'm sorry, did you say Houston? He said, yes, Houston, Texas, can you come? I don't know what got into me. Completely uncharacteristic for me. I got on a plane. I reserved a hotel. I flew all the way to Houston, Texas, and I found myself in a little blue room in the Houston Galleria hearing a presentation. The person giving the presentation was, in my mind, a kid. I remember my arms were crossed, and I remember exactly what I was thinking. I can't believe I flew all the way to Texas to see this kid who was younger than my children, draw circles on a screen. And he's umming and ahhing, he's moving his face over here and he's looking up in the ceiling. I could do better than that. That's what I was thinking. He gave this presentation and it was kind of making sense. Now, I wasn't looking for an opportunity. I was not a consumer of coffee or tea. I had zero respect for this business model that I now know is the best out there, the best opportunity for anybody to win. I didn't know any of that stuff. I had zero respect for this business model. I didn't consume the product, but something was making sense. And what was really making sense was whatever was going on in this little blue room in the Houston Galleria, it was electric. Most of the people were younger than me, but they just felt successful. They felt like they were going somewhere. And later on that evening, this guy walks in. He has a t-shirt, he has like flip-flops on, and he's wearing a watch that I know costs more than my car. They introduced me to him, and my head's kind of spinning by now, but guess what? I started my organo journey, November 15th, 2009. Flash forward. In my mind, I am a proud, successful entrepreneur. I'm coaching. By that time, I'm actually traveling all over the world, teaching all kind of consultative sales, blah, blah, blah stuff. And when I was in that room, the one thing I was thinking is, I'm going to kill this. If these guys can be successful, I'm going to kill this. So I went back with a whole bunch of attitude and a whole bunch of pride. And it took me 3 months, November, December, January. It took me 3 months to get my dual team. 3 months. I decided maybe I should start following the system they talked about. I followed the system. Still took me a long time because I was talking too much. I was chasing too much. I was convincing too much. I was doing everything wrong. But I stayed plugged in. I stayed in close communication with my sponsor and senior business partner, my coach. And I went to every single event. Back in the day, the Nielsens know this, back in the day, we didn't have events just once a year. We didn't have events twice a year or even once a quarter. We were having events just about every single month, traveling from California to Houston, Texas. Typically, hotel, rent a car, all the expenses, pulling me away from my business, and I'm not making any money that whole time. It took me 11 months to achieve a level of Sapphire. It took me, hold on, I have no idea. I hit Sapphire October 31st, Halloween, 2010. I didn't hit Ruby until March 31st, 2012, because I was in my way. I was still talking too much. I was still trying to do my own thing. I was still having so many limiting beliefs going on in my head over and over and over and over again. Why do I drag you through this whole story? You don't have to take as long as I did. That guy who called me out of the blue, complete stranger from Houston, Texas, he became one of the first diamonds in this company. That kid who was on the stage, who was drawing circles, who I was critiquing, he became a crown diamond in this business. That guy who walked in at the end, didn't say anything on stage, he just said hi, who walked in with a t-shirt and flip-flops and a watch that cost more than my car, he became a crown ambassador in this business. So I was so fortunate to be connected with the people who created our system, who executed this system. And guess what happened? My guy, he decided to do something else. My sponsor, he decided to do something else. My sponsor, he decided to do something else. And guess how that made me feel? Happy and grateful. I was happy and grateful that that man, whose name happens to be Silas King III, my brother, my first true mentor, somebody who has positively impacted so many people's lives and who in the last month happened to have passed away, leaving a legacy through his wife, through his children, through his grandchildren, and through all the people who he touched in Organo and before and after. I am so happy and grateful that he made that call to me. I am so happy and grateful that I was able to have access to the people who actually did this system and explained why it was the way it was. And I'm so excited about where we are and where we're getting ready to go. Everything I've shared with you was when all we had was gourmet coffee and tea. Yeah, we might have had some soap. Yeah, we might have had some toothpaste. But as far as the trunk of our tree, as I like to call it, that's all we had. And now what do we have? We have world-class skincare in BU. We have world-class meal replacement shakes in our OGX. We have the purest form of the most powerful nutrient in the entire world with our spores and with our mycelium and with our Ganoderma. We have cognition. We have Travala. People are traveling again. I'm not even going to say. We have all of those things, and we didn't have them before. We have the energy drinks that are coming back. Do you know what's getting ready to happen? Do you have any idea what is getting ready to happen for those people who just take a deep breath, reconnect with why they're doing this business, and just simply properly expose enough people enough times in a short enough period of time to identify those few people who allow us to help them? This is something I say to every single person who I talk about this business. Almost done. The timing's perfect. The success of your business will depend on your organization's willingness and ability to properly expose enough people, enough times in a short enough period of time to identify those few people who allow us to help them with zero emotional connection to whether or not they allow us or not. That's it. That's all you have to do. How simple can it be that all we have to do is make a connection with another human being, understand where they want to go, ask them if they're open to getting some information about something that might be able to help them now or maybe somewhere down the line, or at least somebody who they care about or interact with, and share with them and properly take this through the system. If you want one word to the punchline of this entire conversation, write this one word down. And if you're watching this online, enter this word into the comments. More. More people, more times, short enough period of time. More people, more times, shorter period of time. More people, more times, shorter period of time. Something's not working, more people, more times, shorter period of time. Period. That's all. And I'm going to take this from someone in our organization, not my personal organization, but someone in Organo, who happened to go from sapphire to diamond in consecutive months, by the way. He was a qualified sapphire 1 month, and then the next month he was a diamond with the diamond organization, by the way. So this is where I stole that from, by the way. It's okay. It's the last thing I'm going to say. It's okay if you decide, for whatever reason, that you're not going to use this vehicle to achieve your dreams and goals and help all those people who you say you want to help. It's okay. Even though all you have to do is properly connect enough people, enough times in a shorter period of time, and identify those few people out to help. It's okay. All you have to do first is go to them and look them in the eyes and say, son, or daughter, or husband, or wife, or mom, or pastor, or whoever you said you're going to do this for, your sister, whoever those people are, you have to look them in the face and say, I didn't do this because you weren't worth it. That's all you have to do. But I know that you are a champion. I know that you believe in this as much as I do. I know that you are ready, especially those who did it once. If you did it once, you can do it again. If you did it once, you can do it. If you did it once, you can do it again. And what do I mean by once? If you sampled a sachet of coffee, you can do it again. If you sold a box of coffee, you can do it again. If you did one presentation, you can do it again. If you sponsored one person, you could do it again and again and again and again and again. And let's get this done. It is time. It is our time to shine bright. I am so happy and grateful for the Chua family, Mr. Bernard and Adeline Chua, the amazing Shella, for the sacrifices that they made, for the belief that they had to have to do this in the beginning all by themselves. I am so happy and grateful for all the amazing diamonds that are in our company. Ms. Blanca Sack-Torres. I'm not going to go through everybody, the Rakowskis and the Nielsen's. I can go on and on, our great leaders in Thailand and in Italy and all over the world, in South Africa. I'm so happy and grateful for everybody. I'm so happy and grateful for our support at our corporate office, Ms. Christelle and Edward Vargas, and my brother, Steve Correa, who's helping behind the scenes with these and many of our big calls based out of Mexico. I'm so happy and grateful for Mr. Paul Caldwell. I'm happy and grateful for Mr. Caldwell because I don't believe there's anybody who had a clear enough understanding of who we really were when he decided to take over and take that baton from Mr. Chua. Can you imagine giving your baby to somebody else and allowing them to care for your baby? That's how it must have been when Mr. Chua passed the baton to Mr. Caldwell. And for Mr. Caldwell to be able to look at all the numbers and go into all the closets and see all the skeletons and still say, I'm all in on Organo, I'm all in on all the distribution partners and all the corporate people. I'm all in. And he has been so consistent and he has done so much for each and every one of us. And they've given it to us. And all we have to do is follow a proven system of success. I'm excited. I love you. I believe in you. I appreciate you. This is Stephen V Richardson from beautiful San Francisco, California. Let's get this thing done. I appreciate you. That's it. Happy Easter.